How could a moment that initially seemed like an ordinary surprise turn into something that left so many people questioning, even doubting, the logic behind it? What exactly did Jimmy Fallon do to TAEKOOK after that BTS surprise? And why did Jungkook and Taehyung's reactions spark such a wave of wild speculation? No one was truly prepared for what happened that night. It all began with an atmosphere that felt light, almost like a typical entertainment segment often seen on Jimmy Fallon's show. The audience laughed, the cameras moved dynamically, and the relaxed energy felt completely natural. Yet beneath it all, there was something different. Something not immediately visible, but strong enough to leave a lingering question in the minds of fans. When BTS appeared with their signature energy, the atmosphere instantly shifted. Cheers erupted, excitement filled the room, and it felt as though everyone knew something big was about to happen. But no one could predict the direction of the surprise. Even Jungkook and Taehyung themselves didn't seem to fully understand what was being prepared for them. First, everything looked like a simple game. Jimmy Fallon is known for his spontaneous interactions and unexpected twists. But this time there was another layer that was difficult to explain. The way he approached Jungkook and Taehyung, the way he set up the moment, even the small pauses in conversation, all felt like part of something bigger. Was this just entertainment? Or was there a hidden message behind it? That question began to surface when Jungkook's expression changed. In a matter of seconds, his relaxed smile shifted into something more complex. It wasn't obvious discomfort, but rather a kind of confusion he seemed to be trying to hide. Meanwhile, Taehyung, known for his often unreadable expressions, appeared much calmer, yet his gaze seemed to be observing something others couldn't see. That's when the moment started to feel unusual. Jimmy Fallon then did something that many fans described as unbelievable. Not because it was extreme, but because of the context. He leaned in, spoke in a lower tone, and appeared to give instructions or perhaps a joke that wasn't fully captured by the microphone. The cameras didn't completely catch the exchange, but enough was shown to make viewers feel that something was intentionally being kept hidden. Why did it have to be like that? Jungkook's reaction became even more intriguing. He laughed, but the laugh felt different, shorter, more restrained. Taehyung, on the other hand, simply looked for a moment before shifting his gaze away, as if trying to keep the situation under control. In the world of entertainment, small details like these are often overlooked. But for fans who are used to reading their idols' expressions, these were signals that couldn't be ignored. Speculation quickly followed. Some believed it was just part of an underdeveloped script. Others thought Jimmy Fallon was trying to create a viral moment in an unusual way. But one theory stood out above the rest, that the interaction wasn't entirely spontaneous, but part of something bigger, something perhaps not yet ready to be revealed. Could it be that a secret project was being prepared? That question grew stronger as clips of the moment began circulating on social media. In those short videos, small details became more visible. The way Jungkook looked at Jimmy Fallon after that brief exchange. The way Taehyung slightly raised his eyebrow, as if realizing something. Even the way the camera quickly shifted, almost as if trying to divert attention from a certain point. All of this created the same impression: there was something that wasn't fully shown to the public. At the same time, others saw the moment as a unique display of closeness. Jimmy Fallon is known to have a good relationship with BTS, often creating moments that feel more personal than formal interviews. It's possible that what seemed strange to viewers was actually part of a dynamic only understood by those involved. But if that's true, why did their reactions feel different this time? Jungkook, who usually adapts quickly to any situation, seemed slightly more cautious. Taehyung, often the center of attention with his charisma, chose to remain quieter. These weren't their usual responses, and that's exactly where the mystery lies. As time passed, discussions about the moment continued to grow. Fans analyzed every second, every expression, even every small movement that might carry hidden meaning. Some even tried reading lips to figure out what Jimmy Fallon had actually said. But a clear answer never emerged. And perhaps that's where the true power of this moment lies. Because in the modern entertainment world, not everything needs to be explained directly. Sometimes mystery becomes the main attraction. Moments that aren't fully clear often leave a stronger impression than those that are completely transparent. And what happened between Jimmy Fallon, Jungkook, and Taehyung that night is a perfect example of that phenomenon. Yet one thing cannot be denied: the impact. In a short time, the moment became a major topic of conversation across platforms. Dramatic headlines appeared, theories spread, and curiosity continued to rise. Even those who initially paid little attention began to wonder, what really happened? Was it just entertainment that successfully captured attention, or was there something deeper behind it? Until now, the answer remains open. But perhaps what matters more is not the answer, but the question itself. Because as long as that question exists, as long as the curiosity remains alive, the moment will continue to be remembered, discussed, and woven into a larger narrative. And yet, just when it seemed like the moment would slowly fade into the endless stream of viral clips, something unexpected happened. The silence from those involved only made everything louder. Why didn't Jimmy Fallon clarify what he said? Why didn't Jungkook or Taeyoung address the moment, even casually? In an era where even the smallest interactions are often explained, clipped, reposted, and dissected within minutes, the absence of explanation felt intentional. Or was it? The longer the silence stretched, the more intense the curiosity became. Fans began revisiting older interactions between Jimmy Fallon and BTS, searching for patterns, clues, anything that could connect the dots. Had there ever been a moment like this before? Had Jimmy ever leaned in like that, spoken in a tone so private it almost felt out of place on a public stage? Some pointed to past appearances, playful games, surprise performances, light-hearted interviews. But none of them carried this same strange tension, this subtle shift in atmosphere that lingered even after the segment ended. This felt different, and people could feel it. Then came another detail that only a few initially noticed, but once seen, couldn't be ignored. Right after that brief exchange, there was a fraction of a second, almost invisible, where Jungkook glanced not at Jimmy Fallon, not at Taeyoung, but slightly off camera. It was quick, almost instinctive, but it didn't look random. It looked like he was checking something, or someone. What was he reacting to? Taeyoung, on the other hand, seemed to regain composure almost immediately. But that composure raised even more questions. Was it natural or was it controlled? His calmness didn't erase the moment. It framed it. It made it stand out even more, like a quiet acknowledgement that something unusual had just occurred. And then there was Jimmy Fallon himself. Known for his expressive reactions and quick humor, he briefly broke his usual rhythm. It was subtle but noticeable. For a split second, his expression shifted, not into confusion, but into something more calculated. Almost as if he was aware that the moment had crossed into unexpected territory and needed to be guided back. Was it a mistake? Or was it planned all along? Theories continued to spiral. Some fans began suggesting that what happened wasn't meant for broadcast at all, that perhaps the microphones caught something they weren't supposed to, or that the camera lingered a second too long. Others speculated that it was a teaser, a deliberately ambiguous moment designed to ignite discussion and keep audiences engaged far beyond the show itself. But if it was intentional, why make it so subtle? In the world of global entertainment, especially at the level of BTS, nothing is ever entirely accidental. Every movement, every line, every reaction is often carefully considered. That's what made this moment so fascinating. It didn't feel polished. It didn't feel scripted. It felt real. And reality, when it slips through the cracks of performance, is what captures attention the most. As the clip continued to circulate, different versions began to emerge. Zoomed-in edits, slowed-down footage, enhanced audio attempts. Each version seemed to offer a new perspective, a new possibility. But none of them provided certainty. Instead, they deepened the mystery. One particularly viral edit claimed to enhance the audio of Jimmy Fallon's whisper. While the results were far from clear, it didn't stop people from interpreting what they thought they heard. Words were guessed, phrases were debated, and entire narratives were built from fragments of sound that may or may not have been real. And still no confirmation came. This absence of clarity created a strange paradox. The less people knew, the more they felt they understood. Interpretations turned into beliefs, and beliefs spread like facts. It became less about what actually happened and more about what people believed had happened. But beneath all the speculation, one emotional thread remained consistent. Something about the moment felt personal. Not dramatic in an obvious way, not explosive or chaotic, but quietly personal. The kind of interaction that isn't meant to be fully seen or fully understood by an audience. And perhaps that's why it resonated so deeply, because for a brief moment, it felt like viewers had witnessed something they weren't entirely supposed to, and that feeling is powerful. It blurs the line between performance and reality. It invites people to look closer, to question more, to feel like they are part of something hidden. And once that line is blurred, it's almost impossible to restore it completely. Days passed, but the conversation didn't fade. If anything, it evolved. The focus shifted from what happened to why it matters. Why did this small, almost insignificant moment capture so much attention? Why did it leave such a lasting impression when so many bigger, louder moments come and go without the same impact? Perhaps the answer lies not in the action itself, but in the reaction it created. Because in a world saturated with content, where everything is visible, explained, and repeated, mystery has become rare. And when something mysterious appears, something that resists easy explanation, it stands out. That night, whether by accident or by design, created exactly that. A moment that refuses to be fully understood. A moment that continues to live not because of what was shown, but because of what was hidden. And maybe, just maybe, that's why it still lingers, quietly, persistently, leaving behind a single question that no one has been able to answer with certainty. And as the replayed clips continued to loop across screens, something even more unsettling began to surface. Not in what was seen, but in what people started to feel. Why did that brief exchange carry a weight that lingered far beyond its duration? Why did it feel as though something shifted, however subtly, in the dynamic not only between Jimmy Fallon and TAEKOOK, but in the way the audience perceived them in that exact moment? It didn't explode into controversy. It didn't spark outrage. Instead, it created something far more elusive, a quiet unease wrapped in curiosity, the kind that doesn't demand answers immediately, but refuses to disappear. And then came the interpretations that went deeper than surface-level analysis. Some viewers began to suggest that the moment reflected a rare glimpse into the pressure behind the scenes, the constant balancing act between spontaneity and control, between authenticity and performance. Could it be that what slipped through in those few seconds was not a mistake, but a crack in the carefully maintained image that global stars are expected to uphold? If that were true, it would explain the tension. Not tension in a dramatic sense, but something more internal. The kind that shows in micro-expressions, in brief pauses, in the way someone chooses to respond or chooses not to. Jungkook's restraint, Taehyung's composed silence, Jimmy Fallon's quick recovery. Each of these could be interpreted in countless ways, but together they formed a moment that felt layered. Too layered to be dismissed as just another playful interaction. And yet, there was still no confirmation, no statement, no behind-the-scenes explanation to settle the growing curiosity. That silence began to take on a meaning of its own. Because in the absence of answers, people don't stop asking questions, they start creating them. What if the whisper wasn't meant for them alone? What if it was part of a larger cue? Something related to timing, production, or an upcoming reveal that simply didn't unfold as expected? Or what if, in a twist that no one had considered at first, the moment had nothing to do with production at all, but something entirely personal, something fleeting that just happened to be caught on camera? Each possibility opened a new path of speculation, and none of them could be fully proven or disproven. But then, another subtle detail began to circulate. In a different angle, one that wasn't part of the original broadcast but surfaced later, there appeared to be a slight delay in how the surrounding staff reacted. It was minimal, almost imperceptible. But for those who noticed it, it raised yet another question. Were they expecting something else to happen? If so, then what we saw might not have been the full picture. And that idea, that what was shown was only a fragment of a larger sequence, only deepened the intrigue. Because it suggested that the most important part of the moment might have occurred just outside the frame, just beyond what the audience was allowed to see. It's a thought that lingers, precisely because it can't be confirmed. And perhaps that's what makes it so compelling. In an industry where visibility is everything, where every angle is captured and every second is curated, the idea that something slipped through unnoticed, or intentionally unseen, feels almost impossible. Yet here it was, a moment that resisted clarity despite being replayed thousands, even millions of times. Over time, the narrative around it began to shift once again. It was no longer just about decoding the interaction. It became about understanding why it resonated so deeply in the first place. Why did people feel the need to revisit it, to analyze it, to discuss it long after it happened? The answer might lie in the emotional undercurrent that ran through it. Because beyond the speculation, beyond the theories and the slowed-down clips, there was a human element that couldn't be ignored. A sense that, for a brief moment, something genuine surfaced, something unscripted, unfiltered, and therefore impossible to neatly categorize. And that kind of moment is rare. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand attention. But once it's noticed, it stays. It stays in the way people talk about it, in the way they question it, in the way they return to it, hoping to see something new each time. Not because the moment changes, but because their perspective does. And so the clip continues to live on, not as a resolved story, but as an open-ended one. A fragment of time that refuses to settle into a single explanation. A quiet anomaly in an otherwise polished world. And perhaps the most intriguing part of all is this: what if the reason it feels so unresolved is because it was never meant to be understood completely? What if its power lies precisely in that uncertainty? Because as long as there is no clear answer, the moment remains alive. It continues to invite interpretation, to spark discussion, to blur the line between what is real and what is perceived.